Hey there, Internet. Samwise here from Kaiju Hunters. I've been playing a lot of the Battlefield 4 beta the past week or so, and I thought it'd be neat to put up a little impressions video, because usually this isn't the kind of game that we're into quite a lot, though we do play it. We don't really play it well, so there's not much point in putting up a lot of videos. But I've been playing Battlefield games for a very, very long time, ever since Battlefield 2, way back on my really crappy PC in the early 2000s. And I'd have to say that definitely this is the most exciting Battlefield game that I've ever played. Even more so than Bad Company 2. A couple, like 4 years ago, was it? Yeah. When that all introduced all the destruction elements and rush battle mode and all that really neat stuff. So, check out some of this gameplay footage I put up, and I'm gonna go through this list of notes that I made when I was playing. A little disclaimer first though. All this footage is from the beta, and it's really not that well optimized. I'd imagine this is a little earlier build of the game that they've had to put out for the beta. And it's only one map, and the graphics settings are a little bit all over the place. And if you see a lot of stuttering in the video, that's not entirely my fault, that's the game being beta. But it's still good enough fun for me to really enjoy the game. Nothing too game-breaking happening. Oh, I'm shooting some pillars there. I'll talk about the Levolution stuff first, which is the dumbest word they've ever made to describe changing battlefields. That's kind of what it is. It is really cool though. You'll see later on in the video the skyscraper falling down. You can see there right now that the sky is all blurry and dusty and stuff, and all that stuff has a really good impact on Battlefield, and they haven't really talked about that too much, other than saying, look at this crazy Michael Bay moment, which is what they are, but it does a really neat thing on this map. That central skyscraper falling down is the central capture point on the Siege of Shanghai map, and that takes it from a top location on top of a building right down to ground level. So all the buildings around it at the start of the game can't shoot up at it because it's way too high. But later on in the game, when the building falls, you've got like this nice open sniper nest full of tons of cover, and it's a lot easier to get in there. And also when the building falls down, the capture point resets. Like, your team, if you're holding it when it falls down, doesn't hold it anymore. Additionally, as I said, it kicks up all this dust, which really limits your long-range vision, and can affect some snipers as well. It's just a really neat thing I think they've put in. Well, I mean, we haven't seen any of the other maps yet, really. But for this map entirely, like, it does change the way that you want to attack and defend a position, and probably the way that you change your play as well. Like, you would probably want to go in, if you're trying to capture the tower, you would want to go in for an assault sort of scenario with probably a helicopter attack of some kind. Oh, you can see there, and also later in the video, the really amazingly awful city textures once you go outside of like the infantry area in a flyer, and man, they're really bad. What was I saying? Yeah, and once the building falls, you probably want to change up to a bit more of a long-range assault. Just put lots and lots of snipers around it and send in a crack team just to hold the objective, and probably a lot of counter-sniping measures as well. There I am in the water, which is really cool now. There's three new things you can do in the water that you couldn't do before, and one of them is pull out your sidearm, as I just did. The other is stick C4 on the bottom of boats, which is also really amazing. And you can dive underwater as well for a really good length of time. You'll take like a bunch of health damage doing it for too long, but you can never do that before, and that's really game-changing, especially when you're out there in the water. This here is the other thing they've added. There's a lot of like interactive things in the environment, like those shutters. Just like little buttons you can go over to and press that change that little section of the battlefield. So it's not all grand scale stuff. Closing those shutters basically shuts down that entire side of the shopping mall entry. Like infantry can't get in. You need something to blow a little hole in, and it soaks a lot of the incoming fire as well. You can also lean around corners as well, which is the first time they've done this. It's not as good as I would say how it works in Crisis 2, where you stick to pretty much everything. This is sort of almost there, and I imagine it's because the actual physics of the building changes throughout the course of the game, but you know, just having that nice little lean around is really good. But again, it could be cleaner, and maybe that's just a beta thing that they'll fix later on. Yeah, and something really cool I noticed about the water, not on this map, but I'll put a link in the description to the trailer for the Paracel Storm map, which is sort of a Wake Island looking thing. Oh, there we go. What's that? Building falling. I get a much better shot of that later on, but you can see like the dust kicking up, and all the people around the building sort of dying really quickly. Yeah, Paracel Storm. There's actually physical waves, like boat-high waves, that seem to go on throughout the entire map and sort of escalate as the game goes on. And I think this actually produces cover for a lot of like people that are on water surface, or if you're out there in the middle of the ocean fighting out with another couple of boats. Boats, by the way, really powerful, like really powerful gunboats. There's 2 of them in this level, and they're actually a little bit different depending on which side you're on, but they're really good stuff. So like tanks on water is basically what they are, and they're really great. Another battlefieldy thing I'm doing here, or well, the driver is, since like all the little shops and things you can bash down the side of the walls to get into, you actually have an opportunity to like place some really interesting cover for your vehicles. Like this guy's just sort of dug into the side of the corner here, and we've got pretty good vision on anything that would be coming at us from sort of the back and the side, and most importantly, complete cover from any incoming attack helicopters, which are the tank's worst nightmare. Well, almost worst nightmare. You'll see me get gangbanged later on by a group of 5 dudes just with rocket launchers and a little bit of C4. And I think, well, this will move nicely onto classes, because they seem to have just redefined the role of absolutely everything in this game, and just refined it to a fine point. Like, you can't really send a tank out there by itself. The best thing to do is to send it out there and just have a couple of guys around about it, like not necessarily like engineers, just support guys, just to sort of cover the tank, and the tank can cover the dudes from, you know, other tanks and incoming attack helicopters, which are just the worst for everyone. All around, I think they've done a really good job of just getting the infantry to work a lot better with the vehicles. Oh, and this is me gonna get gangbanged right now. It's 1, 2, 3 rocket launcher guys and a recon with some C4. So yeah, I never actually won any of these matches that I recorded, and this was like some of the first matches I had. Probably should have recorded the day after, because we won kind of all of those. But I guess, you know, same problems remain. You're gonna just find servers full of people that don't really know what they're doing, and you know, support guys who aren't gonna drop you ammo when you want. Elevators! Oh man, the elevators are great. That's just such a really tense moment when you're in an elevator, you get in, you're like, oh, I'm safe for a minute. And then you get to the top and the doors open. And is there dudes outside? I actually can't remember if there's dudes outside. No, there isn't. That's cool. But, like, there's tons of people that camp all the elevators. And it's not just here, there's a bunch of elevators hidden everywhere around this map. Another thing you'll see in a minute is there's a rocket launcher there on the floor, which, you know, Battlefield doesn't really do that. Like, you don't really get stuff that you can pick up and run away with. But, this map in particular, there's a bunch of places that are really good. Like, you get to hunker down with your team, and it's not like Battlefield 3 or Bad Company 2, sorry, that you were sort of stuck with the same buildings over and over, because that's how they got their destruction engine to work. It's just, you know, it would be the same copy and paste buildings, maybe turned around a different way, different texture inside, but you know, you would figure out very quickly how to take down those buildings, or, you know, get into them. And this just gives it like there's just a lot more variety in all the maps, and it's really awesome. Like, I've never had as good fun playing these maps as I have, like the remake maps in Battlefield 3, you know, good old Gulf of Oman and Strike at Karkand, all the cool Battlefield 2 Battlefield maps that they took back. I know I'm running out of time. Classes, right. Assault's got the same like heal train that it was in Battlefield 3, but it's a bit toned down. You can't really, you know, spam a whole team of dudes back to life. There's a bit of a cooldown there. And the first like med pack that you get at the start of the game is not just one you can throw down and everybody gets. It's one that you throw at a guy, and that guy gets specific heals. If you want it for yourself, you throw it on the ground and run over it. Maybe there's a better way of them doing that than seeing that weird process of events happening in front of your eyes. The support class just feels stronger overall. They seem to have a really cool suite of attachments that you can put on, better grips. The variable sight thing is really cool. Like you get like a little red dot scope, and behind it you can flip up like a 4 times ACOG sort of thing. And just having that like versatility and range is really useful. You can see here, Recon class gets 2 really awesome things. C4 is back, and now I can go tank hunting again, like I did in Bad Company 2. And it's just the most satisfying thing. You'll see it a bunch from now on, because once I remembered I could do it, I just kept on doing it for the rest of the match. Like, it's so satisfying just sneaking up behind a tank, throwing on a ton of C4, running away, and just seeing it, like, splatter to bits. And all around, like, just giving the Recon class that much more options of things to do at range, but also some things to do close range. Like, you can unlock a lot of DMRs for that class now. And the sniper rifles themselves seem to have a lot less drop down the longer that you fire your bullets. So, you know, being able to just pop up a scope and smoke a guy is a lot easier than it was in Battlefield 3. You're not going to have to like train yourselves to use snipers too much. And you can see me there using the targeting binoculars. I forget what they're exactly called, but they do a couple of neat things. First of all, you get the thermal vision looking through them, which sets up a really nice combo where you can have one person sniping exclusively, and somebody spotting, trying to pick out the highest value targets. And also the night vision, not the night vision, the thermal vision is really useful once the smoke gets kicked up in this map, because you're able to just cut through that. And you can see vehicles as well from farther away. And of course you can laze vehicles, which, you know, this is the unlock that you get at the start with the Recon, and the same goes for the first rocket launcher that you get as the engineer. You can lock onto enemy vehicles that have been lased by the sniper, so you can set up this cool little tank hunting team of snipers and engineers going out there just like just really kicking the crap out of some tanks. The engineer remains largely unchanged from Battlefield 3. Probably the biggest change is that most of his weapons seem to be closer range but have a higher rate of fire. So you're really not going to get a lot of long-range engagements with him. But of course he's still got his all-important repair tool, so he's going to be key, and you're going to need a couple of engineers with you if you're doing anything with vehicles. Or, you know, if you're going to be piloting things, like that's always the best way to go. All the battlelog stuff from Battlefield 3 is back, but it's highly improved. Like, I haven't had a single problem with it at all, and back when Battlefield 3 launched, I still thought it was really cool, but it was really bugged. My only gripe right now is that I can't sort servers by country. I'm stuck in searching by Europe. And before, like, that's kind of a big deal over here, because I really want to run on a British server, so that my connection doesn't have to cross water. I'll show you a shot here after I get sniped that guy. Yeah. This is what the battle screen layout looks like if you've got battlelog running on another computer or some sort of tablet machine or something like that. And that's exactly the same thing that you look at when you open up the in-game menu. But it's really nice to have it there just on a separate screen just to glance at whenever you want. I'm really running out of time. Damn it. So since we're not usually a Battlefield-centric YouTube channel, I've put in a heap of links in the description that you should check out from some of my favourite YouTubers that do Battlefield content on a regular basis, including Russian Badger. There's been some really great things coming out of this beta, including some amazing bugs. You've never seen a bouncing tank. I suggest you go check it out. It's Samwise from Kaiju Hunters. I'll see you next time when we do some other video.